Hey guys, what's up? It's MJ and I'm back with another video, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the new Marvel TV show that is WandaVision. I'm talking about the first 2 episodes. This will be a spoiler talk. I'm talking about the first 2 episodes of WandaVision, so if you haven't watched the first 2 episodes, go and watch them before you watch this video. I don't want to spoil them for you because they just came out. If you're on the fence about watching this show as I was before I watched it, I suggest that you do go and watch it because I like the episodes. Just watch these 2 and then that will kind of help you decide whether or not to continue to watch the show week by week as they're going to come out, or whether to just call it quits while you're ahead. Let's dive straight on in with episode 1. I don't know what I was expecting with this show at all. Because on the one hand, I knew that it was going to be sitcom-y. And I knew that it was with 2 characters that have never been my favourite in the MCU. Obviously with Wanda, aka Scarlet Witch, and Vision, who is Vision. His codename is the same as his actual name. For instance, in Infinity War, they weren't the characters that I was looking forward to seeing. So I was a bit on the fence about watching it, but it's a new Marvel TV show. Marvel haven't come out with anything in over a year now, about 1.5 years. Nothing new. And it's been so odd because these shows were supposed to come to us last year. But the situation in which the world has been in for the past 9-10 months now unfortunately delayed it. But I quite like where this year is heading so far in terms of Marvel content, because we have like 6 or 7 new TV shows coming out this year, and I think we have 2 movies. We have Black Widow comes out, and then I think there's another one, but I can't quite remember. But this year is jam-packed with Marvel in a way that the previous decade worth of Marvel wasn't. And you know what? I'm here for it, okay? I'm ready to watch these TV shows. I'm ready to watch these movies and get to be into Marvel the way that I was when Infinity War and Endgame were coming out in theatres. Because I haven't been that way about Marvel since Far From Home came out. I kind of was in a bit of a slump when it came to Marvel. I wasn't really rewatching the movies or anything. I was kind of out of it. So now new content is going to bring me back in. And that's great, because who doesn't love new content of something that they really enjoyed? My one kind of like complaint, and it's not really a complaint because I feel like it was intentional what they were going with, it felt cheesy, like some of the humour and just some of the situations, but it felt like it was intentional, so it wasn't as bad as when it's unintentionally cheesy, which is good because I hate it when TV shows and movies do that. When they're cheesy and you know that they weren't trying to go for the cheesy effect, that's when it's like, oh, you did not hit your mark with that. But the show is set in a 50s TV show setting, and naturally it has the kind of charm that the 50s... It's either 50s or 60s, I believe, but it has that kind of charm. The first episode did leave me not underwhelmed, but it didn't fully sell me on continuing to watch the show. Whereas the second episode was where it got quite interesting, because at the start we get this bright hint of colour in our otherwise black and white TV show, and that was kind of like, oh, okay, that was interesting. And then the very end, Wanda's pregnant and there's a person in what looks like a beekeeper suit comes out of the sewers, and then Wanda straight up is like, let's go back in time, I don't want to do this. And first of all, that was a development in her powers that I didn't know she had. I'm not quite sure what this show is. It feels like a TV show inside a show, but I'm not sure whether it's like MCU inside the MCU show, or if it's Wanda's brain kind of coming up with this way for her to still be with Vision, because as we all know, Vision died back in Infinity War. I'm not quite sure how much of this is real and how much isn't real, because on the one hand, at the end of the first episode, there's the kind of little cheesy like zoom in on Wanda and Vision on the couch, and then it comes out and we've got a guy like turning off, like clicking a button, and it's a very interesting concept of like kind of living inside a TV. What I want to know is, can the other people inside the MCU, so say, I don't know, like Ned from Spider-Man, can he watch the show WandaVision, or is this Wanda making it up? Is my real question for the show. My other question is also, who is the person in the little beekeeper hazmat suit? Where did they come from? Why is there suddenly colour? Because we have colour at the end of episode 2. It goes from black and white to fully colour. What is happening? Is there going to be a villain in this show? I'm going to tentatively say that the person in the suit is possibly the villain, although I'm not sure. Because I do think that there's a possibility that they could end up making Wanda a villain later on down in the future of phase 5 or phase 6, if and when we get to phase 6. But I'm not sure where this show is going, because it feels like a quite meta show right now, because it's different to just TV shows in general. It feels kind of like a Supernatural episode. It feels like one of the meta episodes in Supernatural, and like, that's not a bad thing. I love Supernatural. It's one of my favorite TV shows. I don't know how the story is progressing, because especially the main chunk of the episodes don't feel like there's going to be a connecting story arc. We've got like a little bit of a plot line, an actual plot starting to develop outside of like, this is the day-to-day of Vision and Wanda living in a suburb, I think they're called, in a 50s setting where they are not normal people. And go. That's what the main kind of premise of the show feels like. But we do have a little hints of a actual like overarching plot line. And I'm not sure where it's going, but I'm really curious to see where it does go, because early days, like, we know next to nothing about this, and there's 7 more episodes coming out over the next month and a little bit. I'm really intrigued to see where this show goes and how it links into future movies and TV shows coming out, because I don't know how much the other shows are going to connect. With the movies in the MCU, we know how they connect, but with this show, I don't know how it's going to, if it's even going to connect with the other TV shows, or if it's just going to connect with the movies. We're in a very different path when it comes to Marvel right now, because there's been Marvel like spin-off shows before. There's been like Jessica Jones and Daredevil and Luke Cage and even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but those shows didn't, like, they were linked to the MCU, especially Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter, but they weren't as deeply connected as the new shows coming out this year are shaping up to look. And it's very intriguing, because we're in almost totally new territory. I do have a feeling that everything is going to start diverging off. There's going to be different pathways that each set of characters, any characters from before, are probably going to diverge paths and maybe cross like occasionally, but I don't think we're going to have the big team ups the way that we had before, the way that the Avengers movies were, the way that even Civil War was. And like, that's not a bad thing per se. I don't know what to expect, basically, with this show, with the future of the MCU, even with the outside of Black Widow, it's very much a new, it's a new direction we're going in. With Black Widow, that takes place before, I think that takes place after Civil War, but before Infinity War. So that's got a very specific place where it's going in. I'm looking forward to this new kind of era of the MCU, and like, fingers crossed, I'm really hoping that I enjoy where it goes and that other people enjoy where it goes, because I really loved the first 3 phases, and I've really been enjoying the MCU as a whole. Like, I'm glad it's expanding. I just hope that it expands in a good direction. I feel like I kind of went off in a bit of a ramble about just the MCU as a whole. So let's go back to the actual show that we were talking about. I have another question, which is, how did Wanda get pregnant in the span of like 20 seconds? Because I wasn't like imagining that, right? I swear she wasn't pregnant like in literally like as they walked through the front door. I swear she wasn't pregnant, and then she was pregnant suddenly. It's like, wait, what? Hold on, I'm confused. Go back a second. Okay, like, rewind time real quick. What is happening? So Wanda's pregnant. There's color back in the world. And by the way that they were reacting, they were actually seeing in black and white. Which brings up a whole nother question of, are they actually in a TV? I guess is how, like, my question. Because it seems like they were seeing in black and white. I'm just really looking forward to episode 3 to see if it answers any more questions. Hopefully we find out who the beekeeper person is, because I actually, it might be a thing in the comics, maybe. If you've read the comics or know anything about them, let me know. I have no clue who this person that came out of the sewer was, and I wouldn't even begin to have an inkling as to who it could be. I'm not sure if this is totally new where it's coming from, or how much of it draws from the comics, because I enjoyed it, and not even more than I thought I would. I just wasn't sure, to be honest. Like, I didn't know how to feel before the show came out. I was kind of just, I wasn't quite like interested from premise of the show. Like, I've never been really that big into sitcoms. I've never really watched like any kind of sitcoms. I've pretty much only watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, if that counts as a sitcom. I haven't like watched Friends or How I Met Your Mother. Even the trailers, I just didn't know how to feel. With the Loki and the Falcon and Winter Soldier series and their trailers, I was already intrigued because I liked those characters already. Whereas with Wanda and Vision, I've always been cold on Wanda and lukewarm on Vision. I just didn't really know how to feel about him as a character. Vision still has the Mind Stone in his forehead. So now I really don't think that this is real because Thanos yanked the Mind Stone out of his forehead so fast. So I'm really starting to think that this is not real and that Wanda's either hallucinating or put herself into a magical world where Vision was alive and she lives in a sitcom, which is really weird, but also very interesting. I don't know where this show is going. I was so genuinely enjoying this show, and I have so many questions, and there's only been 2 episodes. I can't even fully form an actual review of the show so far, except I enjoyed it. It was kind of cheesy, but it felt like it was specifically going for the cheesiness, and I'm looking forward to more WandaVision, which a year ago I didn't know I was going to ever say that sentence out loud. But here we are. That's going to be it for this video, guys. If you liked this video, give it a like, subscribe for more content. I'll be back next Sunday with another little rambly review about episode 3. Comment down your thoughts on the first 2 episodes of this show. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you want there to be more? Do you have any questions? Do you have any theories? Let me know, because I am literally going into this show so blind right now. I have absolutely no clue what's happening. And that's great. I love going into these things not knowing anything, because then I can absorb so much. Follow me on social media. The links will be in the description below. And until next time, guys. Bye.